Hello, good evening. So happy to be with you again. Your leader is here. I've done all the thinking for you, so just follow along. So tell me if any of you know a couple like this. Honey, have you seen the Pottery Barn catalog? Dear, I'm reading the paper now. Gee, doesn't look like Bernie's running anymore. What? Gosh, honey, I was really feeling the burn. Oh, well, he's not running anymore. Well, so who do we vote for now, hon? Well, Bernie says we should vote for Hillary. Hillary Clinton? Yes, hon, Hillary Clinton. Okay, don't forget the recycling. Okay, I'm taking Ashlyn to dance class now. What the fuck, America?
What the fuck America did to me? Trickery or conspiracy? Good white girl, not Hillary, kidding me. Nothing gonna change my sensibility. Life's a bitch, giving all the chivalry. Overheard in a broke man soliloquy. Bust guns or break them down lyrically. Ring bells, I'm talking about liberty. Not tripping, shit got slippery. Fall from the truth in which proximity? Real authenticity, can't rate well when you're false officially. Leave marks, me parts of history. Who do we charge for the scars initially? Watch your enemies. Everybody brother ended up shot Kennedys.
Of course, in my little vignette there, superbly acted, we revisited our little good liberal couple from last week, and they just want to do the right thing. We're darn Democrats, and that's just the way it's going to be, and we're going to get that recycling in on Saturday and whatnot. These are the pure of heart. These are the people that the Bernie supporters reached, both like that and, younger dum-dums who, we're just up for the revolution. The same ones that, the movement, the same ones that were all into Obama in 2008. Thing is about it, these people, the couple with the Prius and the whole thing, these people are spending real money. These people are affluent. These people are, let's not say pillars of their community, but they're figures in their community. They're paying mad taxes. They've got the suburban houses outside the city. They're making big money. They're smart. They went to school. They went to Ivy Leagues, but they're workers. They're fine. Thing is about it, they're busy doing all that. And they don't have time to study into this stuff and to look into this stuff. And that's why, so anybody with a brain and with time would think, well, gee, Bernie's against everything that Hillary's up against. And, and this is how congressmen get repeatedly elected, and how you get these career politicians and so forth, time and time again. Guys have been in Congress for 30 years, 32 years. Joe Biden, good God, is anyone watching alive before he came into public life? I mean, has he ever held a public sector job? And, the president's term is limited. He's term limited. He can do 2 4-year terms. Good night. Some of these House of Representatives, they come in penniless and whatnot. They're really wanting to represent their doggone little constituencies back home there in Wisconsin or Minnesota. They leave multimillionaires, and this is making $167,000 a year, plus pension benefits. Listen, they're not getting part-time jobs when Congress is out. Where is this money coming from? How are these people become millionaires after being in office? Well, I think that's all fairly obvious. Why don't we have term limits? We term limit a president 8 years. Good grief, there's no term limits for Congress. Really no accountability. And that's why my little liberal couple, well, we've just been voting for, Mr. Leahy he seems to be doing a good job. That's because they don't have time to find out what these rats are up to. This is the problem. And this is what brings us to how the establishment becomes such a, what would you call it? Of course, it's a behemoth, but it's a one-headed monster coming at us because all these guys have been buddies for a long time. They've been buddies. Everything's fine. We go to the same cocktail parties. This guy's vacationing with the Clintons. Meanwhile, the progressive agenda continues on. It continues on unfettered. And, of course they don't want a bull in a china shop like Trump rolling into that. Oh my God, this guy, wait a minute, saying his dumb shit? nonstop and maybe even asking questions that really nobody feels like fucking answering. Whereas if Hillary Clinton is president, this is why the fix was in against Bernie. Bernie was equally as anti-establishment. It would have taken him a lot. He's probably going to die before you can corrupt this guy. He's 102 years old. By the time he was like, oh, well, okay, I guess I could have a little extra pool. Why not in my my trailer park? It would be too late for him to enjoy it. Hillary Clinton thrives on it. Trump thrives on it, but he makes his own. It's not on the backs of other people. You know, he's creating stuff. He's creating jobs. He's doing projects. He's that kind of megalomaniac that wants to show his wiener. Hillary, on the other hand, wants to be that kind of benefactor that wants to give away everybody else's money. What about when you run out of everybody else's money? Worse yet, what about if the parties and the line, that what should be the definitive line between parties, platforms, principles, what they stand for, who they represent, and who they speak to, all of these things have all but evaporated. Think about it. If you've got more GOP establishment guys, the Mitch McConnells, the Paul Ryans, this idiot Mitt Romney who got his face handed to him and his nuts shoved down his throat, John McCain, these are all Democrats. They're Democrats. There is no Republican Party. There's just one ruling party is what there is. Everybody's happy with what they have going on right now. So of course they don't want a Trump. He doesn't understand the system because it didn't make him. He has no skin in that game. You know, if anything, he's going to be a corrupt bastard because he's going to let a bunch of guys from Dubai build hotels and do casinos here, and we're going to do the same over there. It's going to be business oriented. It's going to be positive. It's not going to be creeping and crawling toward third worldism, or worse yet, one worldism, one world government with the TPP and all this nonsense. So of course they don't want Trump. And the media goes right along with it. When that became the norm, I really don't know, and it's really goddamn disappointing. I've always fancied myself something of a decent writer. Good grief. One could never express their true opinions. They can't. It's all part of the silence, the silencing of the people. There's no representation. You can't get your congressman on the phone. This idiot Paul Ryan is running ads about his, tough stand on amnesty. Meanwhile, he's funding and pushing through speed bills to fund more refugees to be settled that Obama wants, his buddy, his master, and whoever Obama's master is. And we all know who they are. These idiotic Koch brothers should get cancer applauding this guy. Disgraceful. If they were half as hard on Obama or any Democrat or Hillary as they are on their own Republican nominee, that would be pretty good. Oh, they just want to prove we can get along with everybody. Look how liberal I am. I'm more liberal. No, I'm not. You are. No, I mean I am. I'm the most. To get along with who, you dumb bastards? You get your own and fuck the rest of us. Fuck yous. So, the DNC, the Democratic National Convention, wrapped up. Big speech was the Khizr Khan, the fella that had lost his son 12 years ago in Iraq. Terrible situation. He took the opportunity to broadcast this and use this as a political bully pulpit to hammer Trump. In honor of his fallen son, which, I find a little bit dubious. And of course, Donald Trump immediately took the bait, being the thin-skinned bastard that he is. And, Donald Trump, if your immigration policies were implemented, we never would have been in this country. And well, truth be known, if Donald Trump were president then, Mr. Khan's son wouldn't be dead, because Trump was a very vocal opponent of any of the wars. Hillary Clinton, on the other hand, at whose convention he spoke, she was a go vote for the Iraq war. So there's that. However, since he picked the fight, And again, as I've said, our boy Trump just doesn't really know how to pick his battles, does he? He wastes time with some nonsense of this guy attacking him, what sacrifices have he made, and all this stuff. First of all, the fact that this guy lets his son's death become a political fulcrum on either side is a little repulsive to me. You know, and a little disingenuous and a little dishonoring of the son, quite frankly. Having never served myself, I can't really speak too much on the situation. And certainly never lost a son in combat. I do know, however, that our Army has not drafted since the 60s. So it's a volunteer Army, and I also know that Captain Khan was a hero and was decorated thusly. Now, that, frankly, has little to do with the father, except in so much that I suppose he would have instilled some of these values in the son and whatnot that wants him maybe to serve his country, or maybe he was the preacher's daughter, if you will, who wanted to go exactly against what his father's wishes were. Why would I say something so terrible and unsensitive and insensitive? Meanwhile, that nutty lady from the Republican side with the son who was killed that says Hillary lied at Benghazi and nobody's going to take her seriously. God bless her. And nobody necessarily should take this guy seriously either. Why? Couple reasons. His ties are deep to the Clinton Foundation, to the Muslim Brotherhood. His job, and by the way, today on our taping day, he took down his company's website, his law firm. What do they specialize in, you might ask? Well, among other things, they specialize in immigration and getting more and more Muslims into the country. Legally, mind you, there's nothing shady except for these Muslims have to pay a huge sum of money to get in, and you got to grease the right palms, and you got to know who to do. I'm talking $500,000. None of these Syrian refugees are getting in with this. These are more high-level America haters that they're getting in. This guy himself, as you'll see in this little clip right here, this guy himself has written extensively on his approval and his acceptance of Sharia law being above, superior to all other nations' laws. You can see it right here in the quote. This is not a pull quote. This is what this guy does. So there's a whole nother side of this guy. And again, I feel like letting himself be politicized and in this manner, it reeks of cheapness, especially when you have to take down the website because people start with, wait a minute, who is this guy? Who is this fucking guy who has sacrificed what? He sacrificed his son? What is he, fucking Abraham? Yeah, I gotta kill your son? I don't think he was. This guy joined the military and wasn't just a putz who had nowhere else to go, or he wouldn't have risen to captain. So he was actually, either he was on his way to be a tremendously good spy, or he really did care about America. I believe it was the latter. And he was, again, decorated thusly. So for Trump to say anything about this was stupid, as he's done so many times. He's so thin-skinned. Let it go, dude. Let it go off your raccoon skin, whatever, who killed that bleached bastard that lives on your head. Let it go over. And of course, everyone jumps on it. Well, what has Trump sacrificed? What has everyone sacrificed? What has Hillary Clinton sacrificed? She's the one who voted for the war. Her policies in Libya. Her policies abroad. Everywhere she goes, it catches fire and it blows up. She's more hawkish than Trump, by far. Way more. This fella wants Sharia law. So therefore, like-minded Muslims is what his business is. Perfectly legal, only legal in the United States. For example, if he lived in Iran and had his little law firm with their cute little website, let's see how far he gets trying to import Christians in to overthrow that government or to just outvote us. It's legal. They can come in. Anyone can come in. That's how we took over this fucking country. We just outnumbered them. There's no big secret to it. There's no big secret to it. Outnumber them, which is all fine as long as they share the general values that made it great. If your thinking is Sharia law has to subjugate all other laws made by men and mice, that's not as good. It doesn't really jive with our Constitution. Hillary Clinton doesn't really care about that. She's in it for the money. She's in it for the power. She thinks she'll be taken care of. She'll always have that gated community. Can you imagine what the White House, oh my good grief, is going to look like with Hillary and Bill back in it? These backwood redneck con men, used car salesmen, Satan slurping motherfuckers. All right, so I think to myself once again, as I see all this media coverage of they just decided that they weren't going to have Bernie and it was going to be Hillary. It's the same thing with Trump, but that's to be expected because it's always against Republicans. Again, I've said 100 times, when did these fairies become so ultra liberal automatically? I mean, why don't they could be so much more powerful if they stayed in the middle and they were just sat there like a snake, like on either side. If you fuck with us, we'll get you, we'll bite you. Nah, they've just thrown in with the Democrats. So, but anyway, that made me think, because of course they're trumpeting, no pun intended. They're just trumpeting how, the drum beat, boom, boom, Trump bad, Hillary good, boom, boom. It's inverted world, upside down world, groupthink, news speak, all that George Orwell shit is happening right in our faces. You know what I mean? I think of the people or the groups that are, who's against Trump? And by the way, Trump, I'm not all about Trump, but compared to this one, woof. Who's against Trump? China, Mexico, illegal immigrants of all kind, ISIS, Democrats, Hillary, Barry, who else, producer boy?
Republican establishment
among the worst. His own party, and more. Pick your poison. Globalists, Koch brothers, Bill Gates, Mark Dinkerberg. Gee, when I start to think, what those people and groups espouse, without even knowing anything about Trump, I got to be like, well, let's see, the enemy of my enemy is my friend type of mentality. Like, you know what I mean? Without him saying a word. For all I know, he is the racist, homophobe, bigot, xenophobe, megalomania, all these terrible things. Meanwhile, guy's taking a fucking pay cut to do this idiotic job. Never mind if he's a megalomaniac. Maybe he wants to make it a success. I'll give him a shot. Point is, with all those people on the other side, wow, I'm sort of feeling like I'm glad to be with the guy, compared to all those people. Because those are haters of America. Those are tearing at the fabric in the society, the traditions, the culture, what remains of it. But if, God willing, God forbid, I should say, Hillary Clinton becomes president, you won't recognize the country as it is anymore. My little liberal family that I love so much, with the recycling and all this stuff, they'll be protected for a while, but they'll be so taxed and so scared and so fearful and so just wanting to be good liberals, they'll just go right along. They won't know. They'll be blind. Same way the Nazis came to power. Other dictators have come to power. Change isn't always good, especially drastic, unthought out, unproven change. Hillary becomes president. Well, first of all, corruption and pay to play is back in vogue, boys. All the Goldman boys, all the whole Clinton thing. Now, Bill's back in the White House, remember. So now you got Bill and Hillary back in. Redo. Pay to play is back. Attacks on Second Amendment. Open borders. All the Hillary stuff. More and more seizure of your rights, your freedoms. She will stack the Supreme Court. These are lifetime appointments. and the federal courts, these will be stacked, folks, with radical leftists who do not seek to do us good as a nation. I'm scared to death of it. And she's more hawkish than Trump, as I said. She'll have us in dumb wars. Everywhere she goes is a disaster. Zero accomplishments, this woman. So if the worst thing, this guy comes in and he doesn't know exactly how to pronounce some fucking towelhead's name from 5,000 miles away, I don't really care. This guy, get somebody in there who can do it and tell me what the real story is. Delegate this shit. Pay for play my ass. So if Trump even comes with some measure of a business mind, which is basically a common sense mind, because businesses aren't created for workers and job creation and to give them health insurance and to just give them a living wage. That's not why businesses are created, which is why government can't create business and create jobs. They create jobs just by their own bureaucracy and largeness. They don't create anything. They don't produce anything. Other businesses, public sector businesses, they produce something. Services, goods. They do not exist to employ people. In fact, they'd rather not employ as many people, which is why you have the Zucker dinks and these guys and even Burger King and whatnot. We can begin to phase out people. It's fine. What do we need all these fucking people with all these skills? You want to keep the overhead low. Why? Because you don't exist to give jobs and health insurance and pensions. You exist to make profit for your shareholders. Who is everybody? Are those very pensioners and the people who have $1,500 in the stock market or who just started an IRA out of college in their first job? These are the people. It's not some megalo giant corporation from toys or what the fuck's the name of that thing there? Monsters or something. I don't know. She becomes president. It's a disaster. TPP goes through in 5 minutes, surrendering more and more and more and more and more of our sovereignty. The United States just becomes a smaller and smaller player and things get more fair. They don't get more fair. More people become enslaved and some people become real rich. Think of it like this. There's a pencil that width, and that's the Hillarys, and that's the Putins, and all these people that seek to just keep the people down and whatnot. All the great dictators, there they are again. Then there's like a ruler, kind of a fatter thing. That's a few people that are doing okay. They're the ones in the middle. They'll get by okay. And then it's everybody else. The plebes. So you think about that. So again, it's all about that silence, that suppression, you know. People, myself included, wonder, those damn Nazis, or whatever terrible group, that became, infamous for their genocide and what have you. And how did that ever happen? How did the people let that happen? You know what I mean? How did they, we're seeing it, guys. I have to tell you, through political correctness and the intimidation of speech and just the basic silencing of opposing viewpoints is how it happens, because most of that stuff feels good. When Facebook wants to ban a hate speech thing, where somebody's giving some news of a priest being beheaded in France or what have you, but it's fine to talk about how, transgender is being, castigated in the United States. All that's fine. And it becomes, again, to your average dum-dum, to our cute liberal family who are busy making ends meet, or to the average impressionable college student who doesn't really know what they are. They've sucked a dick, but they don't think they're gay. You know what I mean? You get the kind I mean. Kind of open for suggestions. Point is, I guess that's how you do it, depending on what you dispense informationally to them and what they see their friends getting all worked up about. It's pretty scary. A girl, I think she was vice president of the student council at University of Houston. She has been suspended from Facebook by Zuckerdink for, I think, 55 days for violation of company policy, perpetrating hatred in the on a post. What was she saying? She said all lives matter. That's not nice. That's incendiary nowadays. Because, see, we've all decided, groupthink has decided that only black lives matter. Now, thing is, this girl, she made this post at the very moment that 5 dead cops lay in the streets of Dallas. She was in Houston. However, they jumped upon her for that. She was forced to apologize. She's been suspended. She will not relinquish her place on the student council as of yet. She'll probably be drummed out of that. But most importantly, and this is what I support, we all need a little of this, she needs to go to some sensitivity. But I'm serious. Some sensitivity classes, see, and attend some cultural events, which will maybe make her a little more, get her mind right. Oh my God, I'd hang myself if it weren't serious. Anyway, you kids, yeah, Hillary's the guy. Yeah, go for Hillary. That's good. That'll be good for our liberty. Listen, I want to tell you, we've come to the end of the time again. I always love this time that I'm here. And follow us on Facebook, WTFAmerica. You can email us at the address below. I'm always willing to take an email, take a shot at the kid. And most of all, I want to tell you, I love you.
What the fuck America did to me? Trickery or conspiracy? Good white girl, not Hillary, kidding me. Nothing gonna change my sensibility. Life's a bitch, giving all the chivalry. Overheard in a broke man soliloquy. Bust guns on, break them down lyrically. Ring bells out, talk about liberty. Not tripping, shit got cigarette. Far from the truth in which proximity? Real authenticity, can't rate well when you're false officially. Leave marks, me parts of history. Who do we charge for the scars initially? Watch your enemies. Everybody brother ended up shot Kennedys.